Today I'm going to make real buttercream filling and vanilla frosting. I'll put the list of ingredients and utensils you'll need on my video. You can pause the video, write them down, and then we'll get started. We'll start by putting some water in the bottom of our double boiler. Next, we'll separate the eggs, and we'll put the yolks in the top of our double boiler. We'll add our sugar and our water, and we'll use our wire whisk to mix it all together. At this point, we'll put it on the stove and heat the mixture. I've turned our burner on high just until we get it to a slight boil, then we'll turn it back to simmer. We'll use our wire whisk throughout the cooking process, and the amount of time that it will take to get this filling up to the right temperature will vary, but we're looking to get it up to 170 degrees Fahrenheit. And we'll continue to use the wire whisk to keep it from sticking to the bottom of the double boiler. We've been cooking our egg yolks and sugar for about 5 minutes, and at this point we're just going to stop and test the temperature. When you use a candy thermometer, you don't want to touch the bottom of the pan. It can give you a false reading. So you want to tilt it like this, and we'll see what temperature it is. All right, we have a little ways to go. All right, we have our mixture up to 170 Fahrenheit. Now we'll take it off the heat. So I just timed myself there, and that took about 10 minutes for me, but times may vary. What we're going to do is move our egg yolk mixture with our sugar into our mixer bowl. You can actually start off with a mixer bowl and cook it in the mixer bowl over top of a pan of water. Some people might find that easier. I just like using my double boiler. And we'll scrape it all in to the mixer bowl. Next, we'll put it on our mixer stand, and we're going to whip this for about 5 minutes till it gets fluffy and it's cooled off. While we're mixing our egg yolks and sugar, we can prepare the butter. About halfway through the mixing, we'll use our spatula and scrape down the sides of the bowl so that everything is mixed in evenly. Okay, we've been mixing the egg yolk and sugar for 5 minutes, and now we're going to start adding some of our butter. A couple tablespoons at a time, maybe. And we'll keep mixing. We get the first few tablespoons of butter mixed in. We'll just repeat that process until we've mixed in all of the butter. You want to check it, scrape down the sides of the bowl from time to time, and we'll add more butter. So you can see how much butter we're using in this recipe, and that's why I call it real buttercream. You find many recipes out there online that purport to be buttercream, and they don't even use butter. So this is the real thing. Finally, now that we have all of our butter mixed in, we want to make sure that there aren't any pieces left. And now, pieces of butter that aren't mixed in. Now we're going to add our vanilla, and we'll mix it for just a little bit longer. So as you can see, this is a very light, I can tell you, delicious buttercream filling. And so for Brian and Jody, you loved my buttercream cake with a filling, and here's how I made that filling. And next I'll make the vanilla frosting that I put on top of that cake. Oh, and Sarah wanted a buttercream recipe too, so here it is. You can keep this filling at room temperature for maybe a day or two, and you can keep it in the refrigerator for up to a week. I wouldn't keep it for longer than that, and I've never frozen it, so I don't know if it freezes well. If you're making the standard batch of this vanilla frosting, you would follow the ingredients list on my video. What I'm doing now is making 1.5 times the frosting, but it's the same steps. Next, we'll place our butter in the mixer bowl, and we'll add our shortening to that. Then we'll add 1/2 of our water. So we do this because we don't want to put too much water in. Our frosting might be too runny at the end, and if we don't have more confectioner sugar, that's a problem. So we'll start with that. Place our butter and water and shortening on the mixer stand, and we want to mix it together very well. We'll stop and scrape down the bowl. And we'll mix it again, and we just want to make sure that, well, that it's all the same color. Then we know it's been mixed properly. Next we'll add our vanilla, and we'll again mix it all together. Now we'll add a little bit of sugar, say a cup at a time, to the bowl, and we'll make sure that's mixed up before we add any more. While we're adding the confectioner's sugar, we're keeping an eye on how thick the frosting is in the bowl, and if it looks like it's getting too thick about halfway through, we can start to add a little bit more water. So I'm going to add another tablespoon of water. Once we have all the confectioner's sugar incorporated into our butter and shortening, we'll scrape down the sides of the bowl. And we want to test to see how thick it is. So depending on what we're using it for, this is a little bit thick even for frosting a cake. So I'm going to add maybe another 1/2 teaspoon of water at a time, just until I get it to the consistency I like. I think it's still a little bit thick, so I'm going to add another 1/2 teaspoon of water. I think for frosting we need just a bit more, so I'm going to go all in on a teaspoon. Okay, I think for frosting a cake, this looks just fine. So this is about the consistency we want to frost a cake. If we want to pipe this, we'll set some aside and we'll add more water so that it can pipe more easily. And we'd add some food coloring. So we finished our buttercream filling and our vanilla frosting. Okay, for those folks who were at the baby shower, Brian and others, and for folks who were at the church potluck, Jody and others, this is how I made the cake. I used the Duncan Hines Butter Golden. I was making a 1.5 sheet cake, so I kind of had to cheat a little bit. However, I'm going to make at some point a video of my yellow cake. If you have ideas for anything else that you'd like for me to bake, please put your ideas in the comments below. Thanks for watching.